into the story.
Let's do it. First story of the day is with 1,498 digs, 6 apart, welcomes Pounce, submitted by Ariel Waldman.
Interesting.
From 6apart.com. I am pleased to announce that today we are welcoming the Pounce team and technology to 6 Apart. Pounce launched in June of 2007 and opened to the public earlier this year, but as mentioned on the Pounce blog, pounce.com, will be closing in the next few weeks. So
this is sort of a big deal because this happened. And you haven't really had a chance to talk.
I didn't talk to you about it.
I know, dude. What happened?
I know.
You were like, I need to sign papers. Well, what do you mean call you? You were there signing papers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I told you about it.
Yeah.
It hadn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what? So tell the people.
So basically, we launched Pounce as a project that really only had 2 full-time developers, Leah Culver and Mike Malone.
Right.
And Daniel did all the graphic design stuff for it and kind of worked nights and weekends on that stuff.
Right.
And then
and for those who don't know, Daniel's one of the head designer at Dig.
Right. So basically, we all got together and we put a small amount of money into it. Took a little small round of angel funding and said, you know, we're just going to give this a shot and see how well it does. See if it grows and kind of, you know, hits that critical mass to where we decide to really hire a full-time CEO and really blow it out.
Yeah.
It had pretty decent traffic, but nothing like millions and millions of users. You know, we had like 150,000, 170,000 users, which sounds like a lot, but I don't know. I kind of have a different standard when it comes to like it has to have
a big
certain
blowout, in order to chase it.
It's a nice little side project.
Right.
So because of this, we're spending a ton of money on bandwidth, people transferring files, salaries, so that Leah and Mike can work on this full time. Yeah. We were getting a certain amount of pro accounts, but not enough to cover all the expenses. So like any business, you have to have enough to obviously make money. We weren't doing that. And so we said, you know, given the economy, it's not a good time to go out and raise money. Right. So let's go and talk to where we could potentially find a home for the product. And so I must have met with, I don't know, 10 or 15 different companies, everyone you can possibly think of.
Right,
And sat down with them and said, you know, this is the product we had. We had a couple parties come to the table and said, we're interested, you know, we would like to talk further about how this can become part of our, you know, what we're doing. And really, it was all kind of the same thing that the home that made the most sense was really 6 Apart because they wanted to build.
So what is 6 Apart? Yeah.
6 Apart is
I don't really know anything. I mean, I looked and saw that they do blog.
They do a big blogging platform like TypePad.
TypePad, right.
They also do movable type. And Vox. So, you know, they're a blogging platform and they had similar ideas of what they, I know it's horrible.
It gets really bad at the bottom.
Terrible bit. So they had similar ideas of a new product that they wanted to create. I can't go into the details of what they're creating, but it made sense. It was kind of a good fit, right? Now, even though they're shutting it down, Leah and Mike will be working on something that's going to be very cool and along the same lines.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it just made sense. They're like, hey, we'll buy it from you, and we were like, hey, we want to sell it because we obviously don't want to go out of business and have them having to look for jobs. So you know, it's sad because some of the community is like, oh, we won't have a product for a few months. Why is something hasn't launched yet? And that's a bummer. But in the end, it was probably the best move we could make.
Interesting.
So yeah.
I really enjoyed Pounce. I always thought it was such an interesting way to kind of, because what was the sort of raison d'etre, as it were, of Pounce?
Well, we basically.
This was a French joke.
Yes. What did you really use it for, though? Were you using it to transfer files and things like that? Because I use Twitter as my way to communicate short messages.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think I started on Pounce before I even knew Twitter. I was very adverse to Twitter for a long time, as registered by looking at all the old episodes where I'm like, screw Twitter. Twitter's for stupid people. Now that's the exact opposite way I feel. As the #6 most followed Twitter user.
You're like, add me now.
I'm like, keep adding me. This is the best thing that's ever been invented, this Twitter. So I was using it for the Twitter type functionality, the short messages to a lot of people, and then I started getting onto Twitter, and that was when I kind of fall off.
See, we were really compared to Twitter a lot in the press, but we didn't see them really as competition. They were more for like, I use Twitter when I'm out on my cell phone, when I'm out with friends, when I want to check in and be like, hey, come meet me here. And then Pounce was really everything that I used for media. So if it was uploading music, it was things like videos, stuff like that. That was like my media hub. And so if you ever want to see any songs, actually I would post to Twitter and be like, hey, go check it out on Pounce, because you can't post songs on Twitter, you know. So anyway, I'm excited because this really gives the team something cool to work on, and the product and kind of feature set will stay alive in one form or another.
Well, I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah, totally.
Let's just say that, and shall we move on? I know.